Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Despite the global economy coming to a halt due to the COVID-19 lockdowns, there is a renewed growth of globalization. Joining me to discuss is Marwan Forzley, CEO of Veeam. Marwan, welcome to Trade Talks.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Why is globalization here to stay, and what are some of the trends that you're watching to support that?
Yeah, let me give you a little bit of context about Veeam for your audience. We help businesses to pay and get paid around the world. We're in 110 countries, 50 plus currencies. We have a couple 100,000 businesses on the platform. And we constantly have a survey that goes out every quarter to measure pulse. You know, how do people think of their business, of the macro global environment, of COVID and the impact of on their businesses. And so we do this on a quarterly basis. And what's super interesting is the rise and continued rise of globalization fueled by two key factors. The first one is e-commerce. You know, pre-COVID, you used to shop offline first, and if there's anything that you can't find offline, you go online, you shop online, and you're done. Post-COVID, habits have changed quite a bit, where you start online. If there's anything you can't get online, you then go to a store. The interesting thing about online is it erases borders. I mean, you know, when you're shopping, you see a page in front of you and, you know, you get the product that you need. You don't think of borders as much. And so it continues to fuel the globalization. So that's one area that we're seeing a big rise in. The second thing is remote labor. Pre-COVID, you have an office, you hire people around the office. Now, you know, people are hiring wherever they can find labor. And so that includes labor not only outside of the state they're in, but outside of the country they're in. And that's a trend that's going to continue to increase over time. These are two macro trends that are byproducts of COVID that are continuing to increase the rate of globalization driven by technology.
So I would imagine that for small businesses, then international partners are only becoming more important.
Yeah, like 60% of the customers we surveyed continue to believe that this is critical for their business. It has to do with supply chains in general. It's really hard to reconfigure them on the fly. And, you know, we've seen rise in, macro global centers where there's a lot of supplier bases, like China, for example. We've seen 20% increase in volume just in July. And just gives you an idea, despite all the tariffs we've had with China and all the macro politics that's going on, the numbers continue to rise because it's not that easy to reconfigure the supply chain. And that's a critical thing for customers that depend on the right products to sell and fuel their business. So it's going to be something that's of interest to the customers for a long period of time.
Marwan, you had brought up before that remote labor is certainly a byproduct of the COVID-19 shutdown. Do you think that is here to stay, or there might be some hybrid form of work from home? And what do you think the impact is going to be on businesses?
So half of the customers we have gone to remote labor, completely remote. I think over time, we're going to see this blend between remote and work from home. Customers and like the flexibility that they're giving to their employees because of the health concerns. And they're investing in tools and processes and products and their own competency in figuring out how to manage remote labor. And so there's going to be significant investments, I think, in tools and processes that are going to help management of remote labor. It's not something that's going to go away anytime soon. Just look at Zoom, for example. In the past, I mean, look at their earnings. The amount of activity that's going on in that segment is very large because it's a trend that's not going to stop anytime soon. It's something that's for the long term.
Well, you make a great point about Zoom. I'll tell you what, we do these Zoom interviews anywhere from 8 to 10 times a day, and this is just one person using it. So, I mean, our entire content business has been supported by Zoom. So where's the opportunity then?
I think there's, a number of opportunities here. A lot of customers are investing heavily in tools, technologies, products to simplify their business and to operate remotely, and to leverage e-commerce and to leverage new business models. For example, increasing investment in customer relationship management, increasing presence at the curb and outside of the business to make sure that they can sell their products more actively. So these are all investment areas that the businesses are going through to better operate in this environment.
So you mentioned that Veeam does surveys, and it's great that you're able to collect this data set and show what companies are actually doing. Outside of that, where does Veeam fit into the ecosystem?
We remove friction from payments. That's what we do for our customers and for businesses. We help them pay and get paid. And it's all about making it really simple so that folks are busy selling what they have and focusing on their business. And our role is to remove barriers, remove friction, and keep it really simple for them to conduct commerce, whether they're paying suppliers or paying for remote labor, or moving money between their own bank accounts to manage their business. We're there to help them do that.
So you were already in a space where the trends existed. COVID-19 certainly accelerated that, and it sounds like there really was not that much of an impact on the company since it, it really was operating in a remote environment.
No, actually, we benefited from the disruption, and partly because our customer base, we index higher into customers that are in e-commerce, that are online businesses, and these customers have actually expanded quite a bit during the COVID period, and we benefited from that. The broader trend here is this shift that's going on in consumer habits from offline to online. And because we indexed more with online customers and they continue to increase with their business, we benefited from that.
All right, Marwan, appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks.
Thank you for having me.
You got it. And thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.